we talk about that first group first, leaders, that is generally speaking, that's referrals for me. I don't do a whole lot. I do no marketing because a big part of my career is also as a program leader and facilitator and trainer. So I teach coaching programs and I teach sales leadership programs and I teach career programs for different organizations. And so oftentimes people meet me through having been a participant in one of my training sessions.
Welcome to Career Coaching Secrets, the podcast where we talk with successful career coaches on how they built their success and the hard lessons they learned along the way. My name is Davis Nguyen, and I'm the founder of Purple Circle, where we help career coaches scale their business to $100,000 years, $100,000 months, and even $100,000 weeks. Before Purple Circle, I've grown several 7- and 8-figure career coaching businesses myself, and have been a consultant at 2 career coaching businesses that are doing over $100 million each. Whether you're an established coach or building your practice for the first time, you'll discover the secrets to elevating your coaching business.
Hey everyone, welcome to another episode of Career Coaching Secrets podcast. I'm your host, Rexhen, and today's guest is Hélène Bellerose, a leadership coach, program leader, and speaker with over 2 decades of experience helping managers and professionals step fully into their leadership potential. As the founder of Wola Coaching, Hélène empowers her clients to move beyond limiting beliefs, communicate with confidence, and develop the skills needed to lead with clarity and impact. Whether she is guiding executives through personal breakthroughs or teaching managers how to coach their own teams, brings an infectious belief in helping human potential and a deep understanding of what it means to own the room. And it's a pleasure for me to have her on the podcast today. Welcome to the show, Hélène.
Thanks, Rexhen. Happy to be here.
Thank you for coming, Hélène. It's nice to have you on. So wanted to ask you, when it comes to you starting your coaching business and even becoming a coach, what inspired you to do so?
Well, I was working in corporate as a trainer. I was teaching people selling skills at the time, and I was working with groups, which I loved. I still do that. But I was looking for something just a little bit more, a different way to make money, but more importantly, a different way to have an impact. And somebody talked to me one day about coaching. I'd not heard of it. This was a long time ago. But it sounded like right up my alley. And then I let that sit for a little while. And then I started meeting people who were coaches. And I really liked how they showed up in the world. And I really felt like it would be something that I could pursue to make a difference. So that's how it all started.
Cool. And it's been about more than 10 years, if I'm not mistaken, that you've started. Oh, actually, well, for 22 years
Yeah, I think it's been like 20 something years.
with Wola Coaching when you
Yeah.
started your own coaching business. So throughout these 22 years of working with your clients and going through the coaching journey with them, what about it do you find most rewarding since you started doing this?
Well, it makes a difference. So that's what's most rewarding. That's the bottom line. Having a coachee, a person that I'm coaching, say things like, I didn't know I had that in me, or, okay, I could try that, or I'm willing to give it a try, or just standing up a little taller, shoulders back, and being able to make a difference is important. And that is super rewarding. But what I really think about is the impact that has on the other people. So what I mean by that is when I'm coaching someone, I think about that person, of course, they're the person in front of me. But I also think about the impact that the changes that person will make has on their family, their team, the other people in the organization, their customers. It's this beautiful ripple effect that I don't really necessarily do anything about, but they do. And that's what is really the most rewarding.
It's amazing we found the same thing, because in our community, we're working with coaches, and then coaches are helping these leaders or these executives, and then just has that ripple effect. Our mission is we want to be able to impact 1 billion lives. So it's just like that ripple effect that helps out, even though it's like a big number. And so when it comes to the clients that you work with, we talk about them being leaders or professionals wanting to go into leadership. How would you exactly specify the ideal client profile? Is there a certain industry, certain demographic, certain commonalities in their goals, any common themes? How would you describe?
Say I have 2 types of clients right now. So yes, leaders. So people who are currently leaders, not in any particular industry. It just kind of depends on who gets referred to me. That's usually where I get my clients. So generally speaking, they're already leaders or they're working towards becoming a leader. And they're trying out different things. So sometimes it's that their own leader recommended that they talk to me and work with me because they're trying to step into their leadership and they're kind of fumbling along and just need a little bit more support. And oftentimes, if that's the case, you don't necessarily want support from your boss. So getting support from a coach is really helpful. And so that's often who comes to me. And then the other type of client that I've found I have kind of been getting more of is young people who are just recently graduated and they're not sure what to do with their career. They're not sure where they're going to go. And they need help making that transition from being, say, a student or really early in their career and kind of what's next for them. So they're not leaders. They're a different type of person, but I love working with them. That's super rewarding as well because they're just starting out and, they're eager and they've got lots of questions, and I enjoy working with those people as well.
Interesting. So it's a mixture of leadership coaching and career coaching in a way.
Yes.
Well,
Yeah.
that's great. And where do people find you? So since there's two groups of people, where do you find marketing channels seem to work very well for you right now in terms of them finding you?
Yeah. The way that if we talk about that first group first, leaders, that is generally speaking, that's referrals for me. I don't do a whole lot. I do no marketing because a big part of my career is also as a program leader and facilitator and trainer. So I teach coaching programs and I teach sales leadership programs and I teach career programs for different organizations. And so oftentimes people meet me through having been a participant in one of my training sessions.
Mhm.
So maybe I'm a good coach for that person, or they know somebody they'd like coaching for. So oftentimes that's how I get clients, and sometimes through LinkedIn, but not a whole lot. I'm not actively marketing. So it's mainly referrals. And then for that younger people group, well, that's my kids, friends of my children, and other people in my network who know that that's what I do. So they're referring their kids or their kids' friends and so on. So it's a whole different market, of course, but that's just kind of people in my life. And I love doing it. So
I see. So then in that case, it's mainly, let's say, maybe 85% is leaders, and there's like small percentage that is the
yeah,
students.
yeah.
Cool. And so when think about the future of your coaching business, you already done it for so many years. How do you see the future for the next 1 to 3 years? Do you have any specific goals that you're working towards?
Yeah, I'd say that one of my goals is to increase my coaching business a little bit more because it's been just something I've been doing on the side because the facilitation and teaching work has kept me really busy. And I love that and I want to keep doing it. But I also want to add a few more coaching clients. So over the next 1 to 3 years, that's going to be my goal, is to add on a few more and bring in even, make a bigger difference in both of those groups. I mean, both of the groups that I've talked about
Mhm.
are really rewarding for me, and I enjoy them both.
So you're basically want to increase the amount of clients in leadership and also students. So you feel like you have more capacity to have more people right now. You haven't reached the full capacity yet.
Well, that changes month over month and year over year for me. So I have a little bit of capacity right now that I could add a few more clients. But then, as the next few months come on, it will get a little bit busier. I might decrease. So I kind of tend to go with the flow. Every so often, I'll just go, "Ooh, let me add one more client. Yes, I can say yes to that one, or not. I can't do it yet." But where I make the bulk of my income right now is through facilitation and training. So I don't want to give that up just yet.
Cool. And right now, when thinking about that, so you want to grow, you don't want to grow to a point that where you're actually getting other coaches to handle your clients or like getting a team. You want to keep it on the like boutique setup that you have right now.
Yeah, it's a perfect word for it. Just a boutique setup. It's just me. I tend to work with my clients for not a very extended amount of time. Generally speaking, it's a 3 to 6 month engagement. I ask for 3 month commitment at the beginning. But I always say to people, if it's not working out for you, I'm not going to hold you to it. That's okay. And generally speaking, people stay on with me. But I also, once they've reached their goals,
Yeah.
prefer for people to feel like they've reached their goals, feel like they got what they wanted, and then not feel obligated to stay on. That I can have a turnover, right? That means that I opens up a spot for someone else.
Yeah, it's interesting because coaches are always kind of like working their way out of the
Yes,
relationship
exactly.
with the client. So, from what I'm understanding, you're trying to have like filling your capacity, but do it consistently because it changes from month to month. You just want to have a consistent flow of where you're full capacity every month and have a system to do that. So, well, I also wanted to ask, and this goes back to that research that I mentioned. Throughout the time that you've done coaching and have had your own coaching business, what have been some investments that you feel very good about and you've gotten a good amount of return from these investments? And what have been some investments that you don't feel so good about or that potentially might have been some things that you could have avoided?
So when you say investments, are you thinking about, things that I've invested in learning? What are you thinking
Yes.
about?
It could be investments in yourself. It could be
Yeah.
investments in the coaching business. For the coaching business, could be coaching programs, masterminds, things like that. For yourselves, could be training, could be certifications, whatever you can think of, actually.
Yeah, I'd say that the certifications that I've chosen to do have I believe they've all been good investments. Nothing comes to mind for me that it hasn't been a good investment. So, for example, my coach certification was a great investment. Obviously, it was top notch and it was, the way to get started for me. And I know that there are coaches out there who don't have any certifications, and I don't have a judgment about that. But for me, it was really important to be certified. So that was a really great investment. And then adding on other certifications. So for example, I added on the leadership circle as a certification. I am certified in different training programs where I do, again, group coaching. So for example, the coaching habit, I teach that program at Box of Crayons, and that has really helped me be an even better coach one-on-one with my clients. Situational leadership is another example of that, the program that I've been certified in, and it always helps me be a better coach. I find for me, the way that I show up as a coach helps me be a better facilitator when I'm with a group. And the way that the things that I learn from my groups helps me be a better coach. So I try to get the most out of all the investments I've made. I have not made investments on things like lead generation and, spending a lot of money or time on marketing. And that's because at this stage, that's not what I've needed. So it's bad or good. It's just not what the route that I've chosen to go at this stage.
It makes a lot of sense. And actually, from what we've learned is typically the investments in lead generation have not been the best investments that we've seen from our research. And it's interesting because also certifications have turned out to be some of the investments from the perspective of return, because they're quite expensive. From the
Yes.
perspective of return, they have not been the ones that have had the highest return. From what we've learned, the highest return has come from investing in other coaches, be that either business coaches, mindset coaches, for you to get started. If you ever have had a coach, generally we found that a lot of coaches invest in coaching because they believe in coaching, since they also are selling coaching,
Yep.
which makes a lot of sense. I don't know if
And
that.
if I may, I will add, I
Mhm.
did that in the beginning of my career and it was a great investment. So I'd forgotten to mention that, but I agree with your research. That definitely is something that worked for me as well.
Cool. Yeah. Great to hear that. And so right now you were explaining the group coaching part of it. Wanted to ask you, for group coaching, is it only for the leadership side, like working with their team, or is it also you work with the students in a group setting too? Do.
So the young people I work with who are either students or new grads, that's only been one-on-one coaching. But with leaders, generally speaking, the group work that I do with them is when they are learning how to be coaches, or they're learning how to be some of the techniques that they need to learn in order to make their sales management more efficient, for example, or other leadership skills. So they're learning in order to apply with the people that they lead. But of course, as we work together, there's this element of I'm coaching this group of people. who are then going to be coaching their people.
That's interesting. I was thinking, like, have you thought of like doing the group coaching also for the grads and the students, as a way for you to maybe scale, or like make use of your capacity in a better way? Have you thought of that?
I have not thought of that. So thank you for putting that idea in my mind. That might be something that I pursue someday.
Cool, great. And also wanted to ask you, thinking about your goals and like having a consistent flow of clients and filling up your capacity consistently every month, where do you see the challenges right now? What is the challenge that is preventing you? What is the bottleneck that you are not getting there yet? Is it just like on the top of the funnel, like not enough qualified leads coming in for you to be at a point where you would say no to some people, but you would fill up your capacity? Or is it like a sales kind of issue where some great leads are coming or just not closing or not ready to move with you? Where do you see it? Or is there something else entirely?
Yeah. I think it's more around how I'm spending my time.
Mhm.
And so when that other side of my business, which is where I'm teaching and facilitating and training, where that ramps up, which it does for, much of the year, over the summer months, it slows down, for example. But when it's ramped up during the other parts of the year, then I feel like I have less capacity. And so I'm actually not really actively looking. So what that means is there's really nothing coming in the funnel because I'm not looking for people. But then when someone comes along and says, "Hey, would you mind coaching one of my team members?" I'm
Mhm.
thrilled to do it, right? I'm like, yeah, I'll find a way to make time for that. So why is my funnel not full? It's more of a choice thing at this point because, I don't want to attract a whole bunch of leads and then not be able to take them on if
Right.
they would like it. But that could change from one day to the next. One day I might decide, you know what, I actually do want to add a whole bunch of clients to my thing. So for me right now, once I meet people, I generally can get them through the sales process and I can generally, I just like to make sure the fit is right and I want them to believe that the fit is right. But it's more about how I choose to spend my time.
You also have a lot, but do you have like other coaches that you are part of a network with where, say, there's a specific client where you either don't have capacity or you feel like it's not a good fit and you refer it to them, or you have coaches referring back to you?
Exactly. And I have a beautiful network of coaches that we do that for each other as well. Because what we don't want, none of us want, is for a client to be ready and
Mhm.
then they can't, nobody has capacity or they can't find the right person. So absolutely. Thank you for reminding me about that. That's what I love to do is look, if fit isn't right for me, don't give up on this. I'm happy to refer you to some other people. Or if I don't have capacity, I'm happy to refer. Or if I'm not, like sometimes, you know, clients are looking for something in particular from their coach. So maybe they're looking for, I really want someone who's available, I don't know, twice a week. I'm making things up or a specific language or has a certain amount of experience or a certain type of experience. So I have different people in my network that I can refer those people to. I'm proud to say I'm in their network and they refer me when their potential client is looking for something in particular.
Cool. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense because that's what we've seen as well from our research is that between coaches generally, there's not really competition, it's more
No,
like collaboration.
yes,
And that's the great place to be in where you can always either refer back because you don't want that client to not find any coach
that's right.
that would kind of like hurt the industry in a way. So
And that
great.
client, and if we all help each other out, then in the end, everybody wins.
Yeah, absolutely. So another question, this is the final question that I have for you today is, and thinking about the other coaches and yourself as well from the level of experience you have right now, what advice would you give to other coaches who are thinking of scaling their impact? And that ripple effect's still there, but how are you thinking about it?
Well, there's all kinds of ways of scaling impact. You alluded to, becoming so busy that you're hiring other coaches. So that would be a way to do it. It's not what I would do, but I've definitely seen many people do that quite successfully. If it's someone who's not looking to do that, one of the things that comes to my mind is connecting with coaching organizations or other coaches, kind of like we talked about just a moment ago around that collaborative sort of a circle, right? So who are other people who are like-minded that would refer people to you? So doing that, letting people know what you're up to, and what types of clients you're looking for. Because I don't think there's very much that's more powerful than that. Because when I know what type of client someone else is looking for, then I'll know when I've run into them. I'll know when I've met that person, and then that person's the first one that comes to my mind. So I'd say it's being out there, letting people know what you're up to and the kind of impact you want to have, and having a lot of conversations. A lot of conversations.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you so much, Alan. Thank you for coming to our podcast. For anyone who wants to connect with you or find you, they can go into LinkedIn and look up Hélène Bellerose. They'll be able to find you there. They can also go into the website, wolacoaching.com, if I'm not mistaken.
They can absolutely go there. The best place, though, is LinkedIn.
Great. And yeah, thank you so much. It was a pleasure to have you on the podcast today.
It was a pleasure to be here. Thanks for the opportunity.
That's it for this episode of Career Coaching Secrets. If you enjoyed this conversation, you can subscribe on YouTube, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or wherever you're listening to this episode to catch future episodes. This podcast was brought to you by Purple Circle, where we help career coaches scale their business to $100,000 years, $100,000 months, or even $100,000 weeks, all without burning out and making sure that you're making the impact and having the life that you want. To learn more about our community and how we can help you, visit joinpurplecircle.com.